Okay, this should take us to the end. Page 20, notes to notes on Wedge's paradigm. It is my conviction that Wedge's paradigm will vindicate decentralism as a policy to teach an optimum, for human purposes, steady state in the future. Centralization necessitates long circuits of exchange. These circuits can be maintained only by consumption or degradation of large amounts of energy, which will not be available in the future. This argument may easily be understood and may be convincing, but its mathematical proof is quite difficult. Wedge's paradigm will make the proof possible. 2. With this paradigm, any process has a locatable place both on the two-dimensional exchangeable image and in relation to the homestone at the very center of the homestead in which it occurs. This latter relationship may be explicitly defined by using polar coordinates, three-dimensional, to locate the two or more levels involved in the process or energy flow. On this matrix, every homestead and culture will have a characteristic signature. 3. The paradigm can serve as a set of drawings for an analog computer if the lines are substituted by electrical wires with appropriate variable resistors. Now, here you can almost begin to see how I get to the point where I really don't know what I'm talking about. And I do come to the point where I don't, it's so hard for me to now and then to understand this. And some of this stuff you don't maybe really even have to see. Radiation to space. I mean, here I'm trying to develop a sort of a tile that is reproducible and could go together. I mean, yeah, one homestead tile, it says, and this would be like a what do you call it? Perspective drawing. The radiation from space. This is the atmosphere. Here's the surface. It comes to the surface. This is a conventional energy funnel. That's conventional. I mean, of course, energy lands everywhere, but to run it through the processes involved, here's the surface, and then it radiates back out into space. So that tile right there is what I'm working on here. Let's see what this is. Oh boy. Let's see. Geographic scale, west, east. This is the same. No, this isn't the same thing. This is a drawing of now 6. There's 6 slices of reaction: nuclear, physical, mechanical, and electrical, non-living, chemical, and living slices. There's the work core. Matter in the lithosphere and the matter in the atmosphere would be up here, and then these are the leveling channels. I think that's what I call them. I don't know where it says that, but I think these are the leveling channels for temperature. Long wave radiation at the surface, long wave radiation in the atmosphere going back to space, short wave in the atmosphere, short wave at the surface, insolation, clouds, weather, all that affects that. Alright, I sort of think I understand that. Now this, perspective view of living slice and matter inserts matrix. Well, matter inserts, here's the living slice, the matter inserts would come in to the extent that they need matter, and the reaction to the work core, that would be going off to the work core. Temperature scale. In a way, this is going to kind of dribble off, because I really do come to the point where I maxed out on how much of this I could figure out without getting cross-examination and other thinking. Shortcomings of notes on Wedge's paradigm. 1. Include what you know about the work core structure. Well, I didn't do that. Redo perspective view of living slice, the last page, to include work core inserts. Didn't do that. Temperature leveling occurs mostly in the physical slice. Stirring and mixing occurs in mechanical slice. Physical slice, that would have to do with like ice melting. That would be a change in physical state. For granted, much explanation will be contained in cover letter to Odom. Begin to outline that letter. You see, Odom is a man, I'll tell you more about him. He's a very, very big name in ecology, and I can't even remember if I really did contact him or not. 5. Take pains to relate the drawings one to another. Take out inconsistencies. For example, the number of slices. See, I went at the beginning with 6, and then I went to 4 for simplicity's sake. In retrospect, I think 5 would have been right because electrical should have been in there, but that would have made it really tricky to draw. Offer examples along the way. Explain the function of the home stone. Well, that would be the axis, I guess, and well, more. That's also a poetic idea. Make 45 degrees off plumb true. Swing the slices so that they have area to the viewpoint of culture core inserts and matter inserts. Okay, boy, don't know if I can really explain that. Make triangular matrices sections of surface of sphere. Now that's important. That's what I mean there is where I've said that they were like triangular slices. Rather, they should be like slices cut, a triangular slice cut on the surface of an orange, say. So it's like an orange rind, so it's cupped. I don't know if I explained that elsewhere. That way, there can be contact from all the reactions to each other without being coplanal or collineal. On page 8, make clear where is plumb. I might have done that as I spoke. Keep a consistent number of species, tools, elements, etc. Now, maybe at some point I should say that a tractor would in effect be like a species. I would call it mechanical. Well, but then of course the fuel is non-living chemical. Change the lithosphere atmosphere to these with solid liquid gas steps, and temperature scale. I mentioned ice melting, or I could have said water evaporating. Those could be shown as steps. Remember, my apologies, I'm going really beyond what I understood here now. 14, include exchange curve, solution to large charts, infinite expansion, redraw as eyeball type curve. I'll try to show that, I think, on the next page. Explain exchange tile. I might have done that. 16. Weather is not exchanged. Weather map flows in the atmosphere planes. You don't really have too much choice about the weather. I mean, you do down at the homestead level with shades on the windows and stuff like that, but show how insolation rates would apply. Insolation is the degree to which the radiation reaches the surface. 18. Consider putting purpose of paradigm at the beginning. Apply to domestic architecture. Well, that's the subject of really of the Homestead Engineer's Handbook, and I will come back to that. 19. Homestead matrices in import-export section have slices within matter torus. Correct that. I don't even understand what that is. Tiles not square on page 18 are obsolete. Page 18. Oh well. All right. Let's see the purpose. That you've already. So I think I really think all I've got left to show you is these. Maybe. Here I experimented with so here I've got 4 homesteads that could exchange through barter or cash or documented, but how to make it infinite, and I thought, well, maybe a tile that would I would gradually make these tiles get larger, and I think in a way that this is right. Now here would be 8, but they couldn't actually, this one for example could not communicate with this one directly, but I think if I did it like this and I made the whole thing as a curve and this were an image, an exchangeable image. Maybe so. That's why I call it a little bit like an eyeball, an eyeball drawing. And now this would add 8 more. And if this were a curve, I think it's possible that all these homesteads could share barter, a barter exchange. Now, one other place, I don't have a pen here. Well, I'll just use my finger to show you. And as far as the cash exchange is concerned, that could be bound. I mean, and the same thing with the documented exchange. And what I had thought about, it was a very bad drawing anyway. I had thought about a curve that went, say, like that, so that these were here. This was available infinitely for barter, and down here, these available infinitely for cash or document. I don't know. You see, I'm beyond what I'm doing, and something or what I'm talking about. And one of the things I will say, I'll go over to the blackboard to say the rest of this, but some things I think of is in 1975, Gary Fitz and I looked at input-output economics. We thought maybe that's our solution, and it was not nearly adequate. I'll say this again over to blackboard. That was one thing. Another thing, right with what I was doing there, I had no idea of fractals, and I still don't really understand fractals, and I don't think the world did before about 1985. But what I'm doing there might have to do with fractals. There's that question, how long is the coast of Great Britain? And the answer is, in a way, impossible to come up with. So fractals was another thing. Another thing, I didn't really know anything about cyber optics. I think it would apply. And of course, the individual computer was not available at that time. The internet was not even dreamed of. All right, well, I've tried, and it kind of dribbles off here at the end. I know it does. And I think tomorrow I'll go over to the blackboard and try to gather up the pieces a little bit about this. So thanks for watching. See you.